Hello everyone, this is Erik, the Asian movie enthusiast. And this is another one of those Asian DVD collection addendum videos. So tonight we got, I'm going to start off with a batch of really loony Hong Kong and Chinese movies. And then later on we get to a few Japanese movies, a few South Korean films, one film from Thailand, and then some Japanese music purchases that I've had recently. So let's get rolling here. So, to start off the evening, we got two Shaw Brothers films that are quite oddball and different from what you might expect from Shaw Brothers. The first one here is the Infirm Anne. Yes, the Infirm Anne, also known as the Super Infirm Anne. I think it's had multiple releases. So this one, Shaw Brothers were like, hey, Japan has a hugely successful tokusatsu franchise out there, multiple franchises, and we'd like to get in on this. So let's make our own tokusatsu film. You know what I'm saying? So you have, this guy, all right, and he goes into his it's almost like a superhero film, right? And basically the plot is like this. You have an evil princess with a Viking helmet emerges from the depths of the earth and orders her monster minions to destroy humanity. Only Super Inframan can stop her. So this is an incredibly cheesy film with a lot of baddies, dudes in suits running around in like outfits, and you got Super Inframan here just like beating the crap out of them. This is actually a lot more entertaining than you might think. Even if you're not interested in this kind of film, because it's Shaw Brothers, it feels a little bit different from Japanese films of this kind. It's just, it's a little bit nuttier. You know what I mean? A little nuttier. There's, it's hard to even describe it without having, if you haven't seen it. There's a lot of different types of nutty monster dudes that this dude fights, and it stars Danny Lee, who, in many cases plays a cop in Hong Kong movies, but in this case he plays Inframan, which is almost like a souped-up cop. So yeah, if you haven't seen Infirman and you're into like cheesy superhero-style movies, I recommend this. It's pretty entertaining stuff. No special features. This is the US release. The next Shaw Brothers film is probably even better than Super Inframan. I actually have a review of this on my channel. The Mighty Pei Ting Man. Yes. And it's Quentin Tarantino released this in the US. He was the distributor. And Shaw Brothers were like, all right, we did Inframan, we did our tokusatsu film. Now, we're kind of a fan of King Kong. And there was a recent remake of King Kong that was released in the 1970s. So, what? People are going crazy over the newer King Kong movie now. It's getting a lot of attention. So let's make our own kind of ripoff of it. So this is actually set in India. And you have these dudes who go out and they find a giant ape dude. And the plot is basically King Kong. That's what it basically is. But this is just insane. Check out my full-length review for some non-spoiler details. This is one of the funniest movies I've ever seen in my life. I mean, it's just hilarious. I watched this a few months ago with some family, and I was almost on the floor. It just totally holds up. It's just insanely cheesy. There's a good amount of action in it, like kaiju-style monster action. There's a scene in a forest involving a cheetah or a lion that is just priceless. This movie's so funny. It's so funny. There's this Caucasian lady who's always scantily clad throughout the film, and Danny Lee. Danny Lee's in this as well. So we have two Shaw Brothers classics with Danny Lee. And Danny Lee tries to woo her, and then they do that type of thing. But the lady's pretty funny in this too. Yeah. So if you want almost like a rehashed version of King Kong that's freaking hilarious, and it throws in some of its own nuances and bells and whistles. Check this one out. The Mighty Pei Ting Man. This is the US release. It's got a theatrical trailer, and that's about it for special features. Totally worth checking out, man, I'm telling you. Alright, then we got a film here. A Chinese torture chamber story. I have a review of this separately on my channel. This movie is also hilarious. This is a funny movie. This is a Category 3 flick. So there's quite a bit of violence in it. But it's a funny, violent movie. Kind of like Ricky-O. You know what I mean? In the sense that it's just hilarious in its violence. And there's actually a lot of funny scenes away from the violence. Like there's a scene in a forest involving, it's basically like a Wuxia spoof that's quite possibly the highlight of the film. There's also quite a bit of sex in this as well, and nudity. So that, you know, this is Category 3 in, you know, multiple ways. We'll put it that much, or put it that way. Check out my full-length non-spoiler review. It's this is a unique movie. It feels like it was made almost on a different planet. Very, very fun flick, but don't watch it with the kids in the room. Okay? This is the US release. No special features. Yeah, if you're an adventurous viewer, this is one for this one's a little bit more adventurous. Mighty Peking Man and Super Infirm Anne are family friendly for the most part. This is not. But check it out. Here's one here, more of a conventional Hong Kong flick from the early 90s, Deadful Melody. But few people know about this one, it seems like. This is one of those films that's, you know, it's similar in some ways to like The Bride with White Hair and those types of flicks, but this one is, to me, it's like a more no-nonsense version of those movies. I actually like this better than some of the more popular films of this kind when it came out. And you got Bridget Lin, of course. And you got Yun Bao and Karina Lau in this as well. And, you know, the story is basically similar to other films of this kind. You know, it's a martial arts fantasy epic adventure. You have the demonic strings, which is a powerful musical instrument that can kill all living things with its deadly notes. And it reappears. And then you have people kind of going to get it. You know what I mean? You have fights and all kinds of stuff going on. I have not seen this one in a while, and I very much look forward to rewatching it. This is the US release again. It says special edition. It's got audio commentary by Rick Myers, who is a Hong Kong film expert, filmographies, trailers, and an artwork gallery. So, if you have not seen this one, check out Deadful Melody. It's a pretty cool flick. I like it. Yes, we have Stephen Chow, Journey to the West, Conquering the Demons, which is probably my personal favorite Journey to the West film from the ones that I've seen. This one is stars Shu Qi, and I don't know, there's something about this movie where just the pacing is perfect. You know, it has a blend, it's a genre bender of different, you know, it's got adventure, action, horror in it. The humor really works. It's just a lot of stuff really works in this film. I think this is Stephen Chow kind of operating and firing on all cylinders. It's one of my favorite films from this director. You know what I mean? And it's got that, it has kind of an old school fantasy feel, even though it was released in the 2010s. I think it's a 2013 film or something like that. But it feels like some of the older school Hong Kong stuff, which is what I like about it. You know what I mean? And yeah, totally. If you haven't seen this particular version of Journey to the West, the Conquering the Demons, check this one out. Even if you weren't a fan of like the recent Monkey King films, this is one to seek out because it's Stephen Chow in the director's seat, people. Yeah, were there any special features? There are stunts and special effects, cast and characters features, Stephen Chow interview. It looks like. Production design. It seems like all these are like special featurettes. Action choreographies and theatrical trailers. There's some stuff on here. It's good. Two films that I also have full-length reviews of on my channel, just like Journey to the West, Conquering the Demons, and the other ones. Some of the other ones here. Saviour of the Soul, directed by Chae-won. And you got Andy Lau. Who else is in this again? Anita Mui and Aaron Kwok and Gloria Yip. And check out my full-length review. This movie is really nutty. Not for a lot of people, but it's almost like let me just read the back here. Booty hunters. Well, every man is a booty hunter to a certain degree, right? It's kind of a convoluted story. Look at my full-length review for any details on that. Basically, have people fighting each other. There's some magic and spell casting involved. It feels like a fantasy that's set in contemporary times, which is pretty cool. You know, that's one of the things I like most about it. There's some very, very creative stuff in this. If you want a movie that's different, this is one for you. There's a scene involving a mirror at the end of the film that's implemented with an action scene that's pretty sweet. Some of the weapons they use are just like crazy creative stuff I've never even seen before. You know what I mean? So it's highly creative, totally worth watching. Saviour of the Soul. And then I got the sequel, Saviour of the Soul 2, which is not quite as good as the original because I think it has some pacing problems. It takes itself maybe a little bit too seriously at times. It kind of grinds down the pacing. And, Andy Lau returns. Now you have Rosamund Kwan and Shirley Kwan in the supporting roles in this. This movie also has some crazy creative stuff in it as well. You know, as you can see, some of it's set in the icy environment, some cool settings involving ice and snow. And again, it's kind of like a fantasy flick, but it doesn't feel like a contemporary fantasy flick, really. It feels like an old school fantasy flick, this one. Again, if you want creative movies, you know, Hong Kong from the late 80s, early 90s is a place to be. If you want to see stuff that you've never really seen before, or at least combinations of stuff, right? So, this is another good one. I'd say check out the first Saviour of the Soul film. If you like it quite a bit, check out the sequel. No special features on this one. This is the US release, though, but no special features. Alright, so we're done with the nutty. Most of the nutty stuff, I would say. And let's do a film from Thailand. I have a full-length review of this on my channel. A lot of times when I do blind buys, it's to do full-length reviews, you know, and or films that I have done a full-length review that I really want to add to my collection because I liked it so much. This is Bad Genius. One of the most purely entertaining films I saw all year this year. It's about a girl who attempts to cheat on exams. And she develops a method. And basically her school pisses her off. And I can kind of understand why she was pissed off at her school, because they do some pretty shady stuff involving her father, taking advantage of him. So she gets pissed, and she's like, you know what, I'm gonna orchestrate a massive cheating event throughout the country on this exam. It's like a countrywide exam. You know what I mean? And this is basically like a heist film, but it's kids trying to cheat on an exam. So it's pretty cool stuff, and it's actually very like suspenseful. There's actually a lot of suspenseful scenes in this. The lead actress is really good. I really like her. First time I think I've seen her in anything from what I can remember, and I will look out for her in the future. She's really good. And yeah, this is a pretty cool flick. If you want like a fun, almost unorthodox heist film, check out Bad Genius. I think this is either the All Region or the Region 1 release. I may have gotten this off of eBay. No special features. Alright, we got two Japanese films from back in the day. Film I covered on my channel. Full-length review of Red Angel. This is Yasuzo Masumura, I believe. Yes, Yasuzo Masumura. And check out my Yasuzo Masumura Top 10 video as well. For some, this could be featured on it. This is a very cool wartime film set in the war. You have a young army nurse, played by Ayako Wakao, who's on the front lines and finds herself, you know, I guess, bashing heads or having conflicts with some soldiers, Japanese soldiers that she's assisting, and also the war itself against the enemy. And she's attempting to save lives as this stuff's going on. it's basically like hell on earth right now with this woman. And she attempts to maintain her strength and compassion. And yeah, this is a very good, a little bit unorthodox war film. Check out my full-length, non-spoiler review of it. This is a really good movie. If you want like a film from the 60s, I think this was from the 60s, that's really good, check out Red Angel. It's a little bit edgy. It's a little edgy, just so you know. Special features, you got a trailer, director biography and filmography, a photo gallery. That's about it. The Region 1 release. Alright, the next one here is a Greek release. If you remember from a prior Addendum video, I said that I got the Greek release of Red to Kill. And I still haven't watched it yet, and I was afraid that it was in Mandarin instead of Cantonese, but I haven't watched it yet. But this Greek release was really good, actually. Blind Beast, another Yasuzo Masumura film. And, yeah, you can see the Greek lettering there. And the reason I got this is because the American release of Blind Beast is just, it's too expensive. It's out of print. So I'm like, hey, I'll get the Greek release, and this is Region 2. The Greek releases are Region 2s. But this is in Japanese audio, and it has good, solid English subtitles. So I did watch this DVD in preparation for my Yasuzo Masumura top 10 list, because I knew near the, well, I won't spoil it for you. But Blind Beast is an excellent movie. It's about a blind artist, a sculptor, and he has like this lair, or I guess studio, of huge sculptures of body parts. And these body parts are littered all over the place. And this is a horror movie now, okay? Red Angel is more of like a wartime drama. And this guy kidnaps a girl. He says, hey, you want to be my model? I think that's how he approaches her. And he drugs her and takes her to his lair, his studio. And she tries to get out. And the guy's blind. So it's a pretty cool, like, suspenseful horror flick that's, again, a little bit different. This is considered to be a classic. I probably shouldn't show too much of the back. Well, there's just some legs. I won't show it. There's a little bit of nudity on the back. And, yeah, check out Blind Beast if you haven't. It's good stuff. If you want, like, an unconventional horror flick set in the, I think this was from the 70s. It's good. Although there are special features on this Greek release. You have theatrical trailers, photo galleries. That's about it. It's in some trailers. Blind Beast. You can skip Blind Beast versus Killer Dwarf from like 2001 or whatever. It's like a spin-off to this movie, and it's terrible. Don't watch it. Roger Swan told you not to watch it, so you shouldn't watch it. And then I got 2 Korean romantic comedies that I covered on my channel already. All right, you got Love Forecast and Mood of the Day. And they both star Chae-won Moon. I like this girl. I'll watch her in anything, man. Some of her K-dramas were really entertaining. And, she starred in 2 romantic comedies, I think in consecutive years, or close together, that were good. These are good. They have their flaws. Love Forecast is about, she has this friend who she's been a friend with forever. He's been in the friend zone forever. And I think she's a meteorologist, weather woman. And that's basically what it's about. And it's a pretty charming rom-com. You know what I mean? And it has a little bit of an unorthodox relationship in it, too. It's pretty interesting. So if you just want a good rom-com, South Korea is really kind of the place to be in terms of romantic comedies. The last, well, I shouldn't say that. There's actually a really good rom-com I saw from this year that I'll be reviewing in the next few weeks. And but it seems like the romantic comedy production has dipped a little bit the past 4 or so years, 3 or 4 years. But it's kind of hard to say because it takes me 3 or 4 years to catch up to what's been released from an industry. But definitely, I'd like to see another ramp up in production. I'd like to see, a handful of solid rom-coms a year from South Korea. Hopefully they could get back to that in the near future, because that's the way it was for a while. So yeah, check out Love Forecast if you just want a good rom-com. If you want, like, really good South Korean romantic comedies, check out some of my reviews, or just, leave a comment. I'll tell you what they are. And this is, of course, Mood of the Day. This one, Chae-won Moon is on a train with a womanizer, and they end up going to the same place, Busan, I believe it is. No, there's no zombies on this train. And they, it's kind of this is more of a contrived film to kind of keep the characters together along their misadventures, and it's romantic comedy. Again, the relationship is a little bit unorthodox, which is nice, but it's pretty, traditional kind of rom-com that's just pleasantly enjoyable. So, both of these releases are the Region 3 Korean releases, though. Now, the Region 3 releases with subtitles, but special features I don't think come with them, the subs. So, Chae-won Moon. I like her. And now a few quick music releases that I'd like to cover here. We got my first Wagaki Band album. This is Sheekha. Remember, Wagaki Band, if you do a YouTube search on them, some of their videos have tons of views. Like, was there a video that had like 100 million reviews? Something crazy. So this band is very popular, but their musical style is a bit different. They blend in traditional Japanese instruments with kind of contemporary rock styles together. And definitely check out some of their videos. Maybe I'll include a few links to some of their music videos down below to give you a taste. This is the first album that I purchased from them, and it was good. It was a good album. Every song is at least good on it, I think. My favorite track is Strong Fate, number 3. It's my favorite track. That song's pretty awesome. But again, there's something about, like, if I were to describe Wagaki Band, I would tell somebody they're a Japanese, or what music would it be? I would say Japanese music with some rock blended in, or contemporary music blended in, Western music blended in. Whereas Bandmade, if somebody asked me to describe them, I would say it's a Japanese band that plays Western hard rock music. So that's kind of the difference. There's a lot of differences, really, between the two. But it's funny how you have Japanese bands you just have completely different explanations for, or descriptions of, that are quite impressive. So this impressed me enough where I think I'll get another album and keep checking out their songs. It's good, very solid. Then we got another band that I think I've showcased before, Love Bites. This is like, again, kind of like Bandmade. It's more of Western style music. These ladies, it's like, again, I keep saying over and over again, I'm no expert in music just because I'm a movie guy and I just don't have time to be listening to music all the time. But I guess the feel these ladies are going for is like metal, 80s metal. And it's just, their music is just totally no nonsense. Every song is just like high octane. You know what I mean? And this is Battle Against Damnation, which is a short CD. It's only got 4 songs, whereas their prior CD has more. I have that as well. I showcased that in a prior Addendum video, I think. And then they just came out with a new one, or they will this month, that I'm going to get. Very good quality, I think, overall. The only slight criticism I have is on a full-length album, since every song is just high-powered, it does feel a little samey. Just a little samey in terms of, like, the music. But there's some cool guitar solos in these songs. This band is just, it's no joke. Like, these ladies can play. You know what I mean? So they're legit. And, yeah. Love Bites. If you haven't heard Love Bites, maybe I'll include a link to a few of their videos down below as well, just to give you a taste. This is an impressive band. Some people love this band. They really do. And, deservedly so. And then lastly, we got a Bandmade purchase here. This is their Start Over, like, special edition. Like, I shelled out some money for this. This is like the Blu-ray combo pack thing. It's got like 3 songs: Start Over, Screaming, and then the I guess the Kyoto version of Secret My Lips, which is called Secret Maiko Lips, I think it's what it's called. So I'll include a link. If you haven't seen the video to Secret Maiko Lips, it reminded me of Wagaki Band because they used traditional Japanese instrumentation along with their rock. So that's pretty cool. They did that. Now this is a pretty crazy release here, okay? And the reason why I bought it, this is like the inside cover, which is pretty neat. And you can tell that it's a middle finger with a I'm cool sign at the top. The reason why I got it is because it has a Blu-ray of a 2-hour concert that they did in Zepp Tokyo. I think their World Domination release had like a 1-hour concert clip, but this one had 2-hour concert in it. Blu-ray release, and the concert is fantastic. If you're lucky, you could find it on YouTube. Occasionally somebody will upload it on YouTube. It's a fantastic concert. So that's a big reason to purchase this set. And then in terms of the songs, I think Start Over is a good song. It's like one of those songs that's a lot lighter than most of their stuff. It's almost something you might hear from like their first album when they were doing lighter rock. But I think like in a 10-album track list, Start Over could be a nice change of pace. So they'll probably release it on their next album, which will probably come out in a few months, given their timing of events. But yeah, I like Start Over. The music video is kind of lame, though. I didn't like the music video much at all. But the song's pretty good. And then Screaming is more of an edge to it. Again, good song, but not one of their best, I don't think. And then the Secret Mycolips I really like, because it's totally different from anything they've done before. And you get the traditional instruments mixed in as well. And in addition to those, you get like the Blu-ray. You get 3 new songs, right? And then you get all these like these pictures and stuff in here too. A lot of middle fingers. There's a lot of middle fingers in the pictures. I'll just pick out a few for you. And sometimes they have their logos. They each have like a logo for each girl in the band. So each logo is a little bit different. You know what I mean? Like that. You know what I mean? It's pretty interesting. Now the pictures are kind of, man, they're kind of, they're all flipping the bird. And like almost every pic, they're flipping the bird. So it's pretty funny. I found it to be kind of humorous, I guess you could say. Kind of, what do they call it? Cheeky. You know what I mean? And they all have the I'm cool. I call it the I'm cool sign. It's not really a peace sign, right? It's not really a victory sign, I don't think. Per my interactions with Japanese people in Japan, it's always like, hey, look at me, I'm cool. So yeah, it's pretty interesting little set here. And I wasn't expecting so many middle fingers. You know what I mean? Oh, and did I talk about... Hey, I may as well talk about the concert I went to, right? So I went to their concert in San Francisco. I actually flew out to San Francisco just for the concert. And it was pretty fantastic. Again, venue was about 400 people. 400, very small venue. And it was packed. It was sold out, months in advance. And they did like a 95-minute set, I think. There was no like slow acoustic section or anything. It was all just their high energy songs, and it was really awesome. I don't go to concerts that often, but the crowd was into it, and it was pretty fantastic. I would go again. I would actually fly across the country to see them again if they were to. Hopefully, they'll have an Eastern. Something on the Eastern Coast, the East Coast next time. So yeah, that's the Band-Aid release. So that's it. This DVD collection video and CD collection video. So again, I'll probably, I don't know, will I have one more of these before the end of the year? Possibly. But I got a few more, I got a handful more DVDs to cover. I'm almost caught up. But in any case, I'll see you next time.